Welcome to the latest episode, the Lazy Sunday edition. We're both already pretty high, because it's Sunday. And yes, I do tend to get high most days now. I feel like Sunday I get a little even higher because there's nothing better to do. It's actually a rest day, because I realized all the other days that I wasn't working at the bar, where I assumed they were rest days, weren't really rest days, because I actually did a lot of shit. Sometimes I feel like that's what happens when you're like working on a business or being an artist, is like you do these things thinking they're like hobbies still, because that's how you've treated them, and before you know it, you're doing it so much that it's not a hobby anymore, and it's actually work, and it actually does stress you out a little bit, and you still need to take breaks. So today is a break day, and I'm not doing, well, it's not really true. I started apartment hunting, and I'd already been apartment hunting. I did some more apartment hunting. I slept till 2 first, because I wanted a nice long sleep. Today we went to the park, and at the park we played around, did the funny thing where we play really rough in the middle of the park, and I watched to see how many people think I'm like getting attacked by my own dog, because like he gets really scary when he's like playing. Like his play bark is like, let's see if I'm gonna do it. No, he's too chilled out right now, but he'll do it, and he'll get real play barky, and he'll go. When he does that, I feel like most people will understand that, like, if I was really scared of my own dog, I would be running away. I wouldn't be like doing this to him. But anyways, that was the day at the park. That was fine. Then I came back, and today I've been working a little bit more on scheduling movers, which was really fucking stressful because I've never moved across the country before. And so I was thinking, let's do a video today on the topic of my move and why I'm moving to San Diego, and why this is like the next chapter of my life, and why I'm doing it. I hope the like sound in the background isn't too loud. Like, I decided not to do music this time because I didn't want all those like copyright things, like, oh, your video might get taken down because of copyright. Wait, oh, he's trying to get to the treats. That's the only reason he's being okay right now, is because he knows that he's getting treats. Okay, but you're gonna stay here for a second while I tell this part if you want this. Watch how crazy he'll go for this. Not yet, buddy. Okay, right. He's just knocked over all my joints and everything. Right in, sit. All the way. Wait a second. Wait. Okay, so wait. It's terrible at this. Wait. I lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot, buddy. I lost my train of thought. Oh, so I'm looking at movers and apartments. I'm like figuring it out. I think it's gonna be like at the end of next month, so this is crunch time. I have to get everything set. But now seems like a good time to tell why I'm finally doing what I think has been a long time coming. Here is a treat for my nerd. Okay, so while he's getting down to, like, he chooses in like 3 minutes, I promise you, it's like a complete place. And I think they're supposed to last for like however long. He's just like, Watch this. Watch how crazy he is. Watch if I try to take it away. He gets real angry. No. There it is. There it is. He will not. He won't do it. There's some. My parents got me these like other bones. I'll show you another time. They're like this big. But if I give it to him and like it's like way too much for one day, I try to take it away and he goes crazy. This is mine. I promise you, it's like the funniest thing. You'll get to see it. The hat I'm wearing today. It's not the one that says weed. I like this one a lot. This is one of my favorites. That's a good way of starting. Like, why I'm moving to San Diego? Well, for one, like art went from being a hobby to realizing that that was what I wanted to do most in my life. I love art. When I was like really young, so I always loved art growing up. I did art classes all the time. I even did like AP art in high school. I took these like incredibly advanced photography classes for high school. We had all this amazing equipment, these enlargers, this whole massive dark room. We even had these large scale printing enlargers, which are basically like, they allow you to take, you can't even use like 35 millimeter, you have to use like 4x5 negatives, which are like this big, and you use like one of those like really old school like cameras. It's so cool. And like we just did like a still life of it, and it takes so long to expose it, but it prints on like something like this big. Like, I mean, the print as in like you expose photo paper to it through an enlarger, which shines light through the negative, and that negative makes the chemicals on the paper react, and then you go through on the and you go through and you like use the chemical dye and you put it in and it soaks, and it's like all this process in order to develop like a photograph. So I used to do all that. I loved like old school film photography. I was very good at film photography. I thought it was really fun, great. I did eventually get my first DSLR. I think maybe it was like a high school graduation present. Not long ago. It's a Nikon D5000. It's the same body I've had on my camera since now. So it's kind of old. So that might be one of my next purchases eventually, if I feel like I need it. But I just kind of spend a lot of money on a lot of things right now, so maybe not. But a camera body that's good is good. You can just buy new lenses. So over the years, I bought some like crazy expensive lenses. Anyways, so photography. So I took advanced placement art in high school, like, which was like, I didn't understand how that could possibly be a thing. Like, how are you judging my art on a scale from like 1 to 5? But I also hadn't really kind of felt like my art there was still developing. It wasn't where it was. It wasn't my own. It was like me experimenting with different types of media that I thought were really cool. And I did some pretty cool projects, but I never like found my thing, which is really kind of how you needed to do like a good portfolio for that. Anyways, in high school, like I thought like I wanted, like one of the professions I thought about was like computer animation, and that was because I was like told that that was like the only way you could make money in art was like, oh, computer animators make a lot of money, especially now with like Pixar and Disney and all that shit. And I think I also thought that I liked that because like, and this was like weird because I was like really deep in the closet back then, so I didn't really think about it. But I always felt like the art was like the gay side of me, and like that was like the side that like isn't me. I like had to like project the other side, so the art had to be like a secondary hobby. It couldn't be like my number one thing, because that somehow I associated that with gayness. maybe like maybe for a reason, but now for a good reason. But sometime 2000 election, got really interested in politics. My aunt actually is like really she's a very decorated DC strategist. You just don't know of her. She's a behind the scenes person, but she is like an expert on confirmation hearings, and she's like friends with the Supreme Court justices, and there's a movie. I don't want to talk about. This is another interesting story. We can talk about her a whole nother time, because trust me, her story is incredible. But there's an HBO movie recently called Confirmation with Kerry Washington playing Anita Hill, and my aunt, who was the lead investigator for Ted Kennedy's Judiciary Committee at the time, was the one who found Anita Hill and helped her prepare for her testimony. And her character is in the movie. So she was a character based on her in the movie, played by Meryl Streep's daughter. What's her name? Grace Gummer. It's really cool. So at least check that movie out. But that's like one of the reasons I got really interested in politics. She had been living up here. The election was like 2000 election, just like got me really interested. And so I pursued all of that. Went to GW undergrad here, poli-sci. Went back to law school, or went back to DC Georgia for law school, University of Georgia. I enjoyed it a lot. Like, it was hard as fuck, but I enjoyed it and learned so much. And I did well, but I didn't want, like, the jobs that I could get afterward were not the ones I wanted. I didn't want to go to a law firm. I didn't want to be a clerk because I just didn't know what I wanted to do in the law. And I realized, so I came back up to DC to like get into maybe like politics. I had worked at Human Rights Campaign as a law fellow. I had worked at Lambda Legal as a legal intern over the summer, my second summer of law school. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a job with them, or maybe I'll get a job on the Hill. Basically, I spent like 6 months doing everything possible. My aunt was incredibly helpful. She like set up, she knows every single human being in DC. That's at least on the Democratic side. She set me up with I met with chiefs of staff of all the Senate offices and House offices, and it was great. I had all these like great opportunities, but it was like a really hard time for jobs. There were very few as the sequester, and I kept getting passed over for people that were from this home state. I'm from Georgia. I didn't have any Democrats that I could work for, and there were no opportunities. I just couldn't, it wasn't happening, and I was like, this is frustrating, because everyone would be like, you sound great, or you sound overqualified for this job, or like, if only you had a little bit more experience. I'm trying to get that experience. So it was just like a bunch of like, you almost got it. Like, you were the second one. You almost were, but you didn't. It's like, all right. So I did that for like 6 whole months while living with my aunt. But eventually that just got like difficult. I was like, I cannot keep doing this. It wasn't good for like my self-esteem. It wasn't good for like, I don't know. And I also just didn't even know exactly what I wanted to do. And so I happened to do one of the first times I ever did social media personally, and let something out, something like this I would have never done back then. I went on Facebook and I was like, this is how my life has been. It's rough. I didn't try to complain or anything. I was just like, this is what's been going on, and it's hard. Give me some likes. I don't know. I didn't really know what the point was. But I got a message from someone I knew from that, and he was like, do you need a temporary job? And it was to be a bar back at number 9, and I was like, yeah, I love that bar. It's the only bar I'd ever work at. And it did take a little bit of a self-esteem hit to be like, oh, I just graduated law school and now I'm bar backing at a bar. But I quickly realized, what the fuck, what's wrong with that? Like, there's nothing shameful about working any job. There really isn't anything shameful about working any job. It's just what you need to do at the moment of your life. And I like instantly loved the job because it was completely physical, but it was also like really mental. It was kind of like law school in a game because it was such a complicated bar with so many like moving parts and interesting people, and it was just like a game of how you, as a bar back, it was how you can constantly make the bar run better and smoother. So like the goal was to like help make the bar as much money as possible. So like whether it was like making sure that they had ice or glasses, or making sure that the bar was clean, or making sure everyone had fruit cut, you have to be like super strategic to make sure that on all this stuff works at any given time, especially when it's busy. And so it was like a challenge in a game. I did it for a year and I loved it, and I was like, this is really cool. And eventually, I think halfway through that, I was like, you know what, this job search is just not going where I want it to go, and it's not what I want to do. So I started to think about other things, and I was like, I like what I'm doing, I want to stick with it. Maybe I want to be a bartender. So I stuck out for 6 more months. After 1 year, I became a bartender, and meanwhile, I had already started thinking about this idea for Reif Streets that wasn't really at all a new idea. It's the idea I had since college, when I used to like get stoned with my like small group of fraternity brothers within a fraternity, that we got high together and like baked and like shit and whatever. And I was like, I want to do this for real. I want to have a bakery. I want to have or be a chef or something like that. So back at the time in DC, weed had just become really legal, fully legal, and the laws about selling it were still up in the air. But it was like, this is possible. So I was like, what if I just tried to do this? So I did. So I just, out of my kitchen, started baking butter, making cookies, making recipes, and finding friends who were interested in it. And those friends told other friends. And I started building up a network. I made business cards, I made an Instagram. I did everything pretty close by. I mean, the laws were crazy because I'll have to explain this in a whole nother video too. But DC is a really interesting legal system where it doesn't really have autonomy. There's a city council and a mayor, and they get to pass some laws, but Congress can basically veto those laws, which is crazy. They aren't they're representing their own state, but they can decide that the people living in our area have to live by their rules. It's crazy. But there's also this thing, like, they're supposed to take the law and basically vote it up or down if they want to do that. But they've also found a way to not even do that and just insert riders into like appropriations bills that say District of Columbia cannot use its funds to do X. So they basically were like, as soon as we passed Proposition 77, they were like, DC, some random congressman from Maryland who's just an asshole put in this rider in a very important bill that Obama just had to sign because it was like a product of a lot of negotiations, and it was going to keep the government open. And it was basically like, the government of DC cannot spend any more funds to enact weed legalization. Obama signed it because this was not an issue big enough to destroy the whole bill, and it's okay that, he made the smart move. I wouldn't have expected him to do otherwise. But what ended up happening is, it was like, okay, well, now what? DC had passed Initiative 77. DC took the legal position that enactment of our laws happens upon ratification by the voters. So as soon as that passed, DC argued, weed became legal. So that bill cannot stop anything from happening. We can't stop weed from becoming legal. Weed is not illegal. But the next step that the city council was going to take was to pass regulations and laws concerning how to sell. But that hadn't happened yet. So the legal argument didn't work for that, and it was basically DC council was like, we can't do anything in terms of passing laws about how it's legal. So you can possess it, you can have up to 6 plants yourself, 12 in a household, a certain amount, 2 ounces, a personal amount. You just can't sell it. You also can't bring it in. So how do you get it? Well, DC kind of took a, I don't know, you tell us kind of approach. They're like, we don't really have an interest in enforcing these laws. So they didn't. And pop-ups happened everywhere. I was one of many different companies to start in here that in this like gray market. And they became organized too. A lot of them are super professional, delivery services. I just do it client-based, based on word of mouth. But then they started having these pop-up events where there were vendors, like 10, 20, 30 vendors of different companies, and they have their products. And you go in and there's security, and it's super professional. And for the most part, DC government has left them alone because they're not doing anything harmful, and they're saying that they're taking donations, or they sell stickers that come with free cannabis products. And there's really been no one to challenge that, because no one really in DC wanted to challenge that, because this is how they want it to be. Anyways, I never got quite into those. I think I might in the next month or two, just because I have a lot left to get rid of. But I liked to be client-based, referral-based, out of my kitchen. The way I saw it, I was basically a personal chef giving away the cookies, but you're paying for my time to take all the ingredients and make them into cookies and be a baker. I completely transformed the product from plant to butter, from butter into a recipe. A lot of work goes into making all those cookies, packaging them up, marketing, branding, selling, all those things that are legal. That's what you're paying for. And no one challenged me on that. But at the same time, I knew I couldn't open up a brick and mortar store, and that was my vision. I always wanted to have a brick and mortar bakery. So then Trump got elected, and I was like, fuck. And then worse, he was like, I think we might consider Jeff Sessions for Attorney General. And I was like, Jeff fucking Sessions, are you fucking kidding me? Jeff Sessions, I knew at the time already, one of the most anti-marijuana senators there is. Why? Who the fuck knows? He's fucking crazy. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I do know. It's because he's racist as shit. Jeff Sessions is one of the most racist human beings in America. He's not wearing the hood. He's still pretending that he's one of those people who still goes to the Klan meetings, but doesn't, once Trump became president and all these guys were like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're Nazis. Yeah, alt-right, white supremacy. Jeff Sessions was like, oh no, dears, I'm still just a nice little senator from Alabama. I just go to the Klan meetings on weekends. That's Jeff Sessions. Terrible impression, but that's basically him. And I was like, we're fucking screwed. There's no way that weed is going to be federally legal or legal in the state, because everything's about to go crazy, and this is just not going to happen. Other videos will happen about my take on politics, because I say a lot on Twitter, but no one really listens to me there. I don't know if anyone will be interested here, but I'll try. Anyways. So I decided bakery. I wanted a bakery. I wanted it soon. I wanted to do this. I will move to California. That was the idea. I loved the idea of California. I knew I had to do it. I had friends that were like, oh, we're going to be moving to California in a few years. I was like, yeah, I'm going to come too. Because I like the idea of having at least a couple of I have very close friends, and I need them as my anchors around me. just for my anxiety. I need someone that I can always rely on just in case of emergency. And those are those friends, and I was like, I will follow you to California. But I don't know, things kind of accelerated for me, and I soon was like, I just need to do this. I want to do this really bad, and they're not ready yet to move, but I think, I was. Meanwhile, I also became friends more with my friend Kyle, who is crazy, and everyone knows that. He knows that. He is extra as fuck, but I love him because of that. And his craziness is basically like, he just goes and does the shit that he wants to do. He just like, it's like, this is what I want to do, I'm gonna fucking do it. And he's extremely adventurous. And that's why I like being friends with him, because I meet so many new people, and I do things that I haven't done before, just being around him. And so during this whole time, like we started becoming friends. He was also interested in moving out to California. And then he decided that he wanted to apply to circus school, which is because he started getting into trapeze and doing basically like the type of circus stuff that you see in Cirque du Soleil, like acrobatics. He specifically does trapeze, but he wanted to like really do it, and I was like, this is awesome. But the school was in San Diego, and he was like, I'm gonna apply to school in San Diego, and he got in, and he was like, I'm doing it, I'm moving to San Diego. Meanwhile, he also was dating a guy living in San Diego, and he was like, this is, makes sense, I'm gonna move to San Diego and start circus school. And I was like, at the time, I was already ready to I was like, oh, okay, I want to move out to California too. And I was like, I'm looking at LA. LA seemed like a good place to start for me. And when he said he got into San Diego, or circus school in San Diego, I was like, you know what? This is worth a thought. And I thought about it. I have family outside of San Diego. I love San Diego. It's beautiful. The weather is perfect, beaches, everything I like, everything about it's like paradise in America that I can see. That's like, it's just like, why wouldn't you live there if you can? And I guess I had always thought that I was like not allowed to live in perfect places. Like I had to have winter, which is stupid because winter just causes me anxiety and depression. Raiden, why are you spilling your water? Oh my god, he's going crazy. 2 more. I'm just gonna feed them to him. So I was like, why not San Diego? And this past summer, Kyle got a gig to perform his act, his trapeze act at San Diego Pride. He invited a bunch of us along with him. I came, I was like, as soon as I was there, I was like, wow, this is home. I could see myself living there. I was just like talking with store clerks, and like everyone was like my friend, and like everyone was like the vibe that I was going for, and all the people are beautiful, and like I love beautiful people. I appreciate a nice aesthetic as an artist. I was just like, this town is beautiful, the people are beautiful, everything is beautiful, and the people's personalities are beautiful. It's just beauty, and like it was like, this is it. This is where my next move is. I don't know if it's my final move, I just know that it's my next move. And I was like, why can't I do San Diego? Like, I don't know where I want to start my first business. I don't know how I'm gonna really get the brick and mortar thing going. But San Diego is a place that I can do it, because my transitionary thing will be, I never want another job again. I'm done at number 9 soon. I don't really have an interest in bartending anymore. There's another video about why I did my years as a bartender, and I think I reached a logical endpoint for it, because I just didn't, serving alcohol, being in that environment was not for me anymore. I don't love alcohol myself. It's not what I choose to have as the thing that relaxes me. I like weed, I like THC, and I like CBD. And I wanted to make products like that and serve those products. And also, I had the idea in the last several months too that why not have not only a cafe and bakery during the day, but a bar at night? And I know that a bar, like an alcohol bar, will never be allowed in the same place, but I don't want an alcohol bar. I want a THC and CBD cocktail bar, as well as any other cannabinoids that we start to isolate once the research gets done. I want to be able to make cocktails and serve them like martinis, but like they don't have flavor. You can have whatever flavors you want, and they'll just like do whatever you want. Your bartenders will be able to like to make them how you want them. If you want them to like give you energy or like chill you out or whatnot. Brayden, come on, you're not crazy. So I was like, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do. And I was like, I love my art. I've been doing it for a long time, and I have a lot of it. I have like 30 paintings. I have like 40 hats. I just haven't sold them because it's like hard to part with. But I want to go there. I have all this art that I can bring there, figure out if I can sell it to whoever will buy it, make some more art. I have some savings that I finally, made over the few years, and I'm like, I could live for like a year even if I'm as a starving artist, or even be starving. So I'm like, I can do this. I can go there and I can figure out how to make money as an artist, how to make the right connections, how to meet the right people, find potential partners, and start to create this business that I absolutely want. And maybe in San Diego, maybe in LA, who knows? Don't know the next steps, but like, I know that moving there, being around, I already have a friend, Kyle, and his boyfriend, Tyler, living there. I love them. I feel comfortable in that environment, and I'm ready to just relax my life out, not need a job, not need to feel pressure about all this, because I feel like I've worked hard on a lot of things. I've gone to school and I've put in time at different things that I necessarily didn't want to do, and I sometimes it's worth some rec time / being an artist, because I love doing it, and that's what I'm going to do for the foreseeable future. So in a month, hopefully, we'll packing up. We're going to be going cross country. I'm going to fly him on a plane. He's going to be pumped full of CBD, and we're going to get there and hit up the pool and then the beach, and then I figure out what the next stage of my life is, but for the first time in my whole life, I'm not crazy worried and anxious. I feel like I know what I'm doing. It's crazy. It's almost crazy, and anxiety. It's almost giving me anxiety, because I'm thinking, oh my God, how could I believe that I'm not gonna have anxiety right now? How do I feel comfortable in this skin? It's weird. It's all him. He's the reason why. So that's where we are right now. And Sunday begins a new week of getting this shit together. I've got a month left. I do need everyone's help. If you are interested in buying some butter, I'm making more cookies too this week, but I've got a lot of butter. And if you are someone who lives in DC and likes the idea that I did and thinks, hey, I want to make some extra money, this is something that you can do on a small scale with your friends. You just I'll give you some butter at a much cheaper price of, you turn it into cookies and you sell it, or you give it away in exchange for, a service, or you give it away with something. We can talk about how this works. And you can be a little franchise of Reif Streets if you want. Happy to help anyone out who lives in DC, particularly if I know you already and I can kind of trust you. But anyone who's interested can hit me up, and I'm happy to talk about it. So yeah, that's where I am right now, and I like making these videos now because it's I get to say a lot of things that I think in my head a lot, and that kind of drive me insane. But now they're on video, and I don't have to say them again because everyone else is watching them. I have an audience of 6 people now, maybe 7. Who knows? Maybe this video will get 40 views one day. One day this will be the embarrassing videos that I made, and I'm ew. All right, well, one more rawhide for the go. Bye. Say bye, buddy. Bye.